My 27M girlfriend, 25F, of 2 years, chose her friend group over our relationship for the last time. I'm done. I don't even know where to start with this mess. I've been with Lily for over 2 years now, and I thought we had something real. We moved in together 6 months ago, split everything down the middle, the whole domestic thing. But lately, I've been feeling like I'm dating 5 people instead of 1. Here's the thing. Lily has this tight-knit friend group, Jenna, Marcus, Bella, and Ryan. They call themselves The Circle, unironically, and do literally everything together. Group chats going 24/7, matching Halloween costumes, the works. At first, I thought it was sweet that she had such close friends. Now I'm wondering if I'm even in a relationship, or just some guy who pays half the rent. The breaking point happened last weekend. Our 2-year anniversary was coming up, and I planned this whole evening. Made reservations at the place where we had our first real date. Got tickets to see this band she's been obsessing over. Nothing crazy expensive, but thoughtful stuff. I found her in the living room, scrolling through Instagram stories of her friends' weekend adventures. "Hey, so I've got something special planned for our anniversary next Saturday," I said, sitting down next to her. She looked up from her phone, and I swear her face just fell, like I'd told her someone died. "Oh." She set the phone down slowly. "Oh, babe, that's the same night as Bella's birthday pre-game. You know I can't miss that." I felt my stomach drop a little, but I tried to stay reasonable. "Well, what if you asked them if you guys could reschedule to Friday night instead, or Sunday?" She was already shaking her head before I finished talking. No, you don't understand. Bella specifically planned it for Saturday because it's literally the only night everyone can make it. Marcus has that big work conference starting Sunday, and Jen has been so stressed with her new job that she really needs this. And Ryan just broke up with that girl he was seeing, so he needs us right now too. I watched her face as she talked, and she was getting more animated, like she was warming up to her argument. "We all really need this night, Daniel. The group hasn't been together properly in weeks." "But it's our anniversary," I said, and I hated how small my voice sounded. "This only happens once a year. You can see your friends literally any other time." That's when her whole demeanor changed. She sat back, crossed her arms, and gave me this look like I was being completely unreasonable. "Love can wait, but friendship can't. They were here before you, and they'll be here after." I just stared at her. The words hit me like a physical blow. They'll be here after. Not if something happens to us. Not, God forbid, we ever break up. But a casual, matter-of-fact after. Like our breakup was already penciled into her calendar somewhere between next month's group vacation and Jenna's birthday party. After everything we've built together, I'm still just some temporary thing that can be rescheduled around brunch plans. And this wasn't the first time either. My graduation from my master's program, she went to Marcus's housewarming party instead. My brother's wedding last month. She was too exhausted from a 3-day festival with The Circle to come as my +1. Even when my mom was in the hospital for her surgery, Lily couldn't visit because it conflicted with their weekly game night. But she expects me to drop everything when she needs something. Last month, she called me at 2 a.m. to pick her up from some dive bar across town because Ryan was too drunk to drive responsibly. When I got there, she barely acknowledged me, just kept taking selfies with everyone while I stood there like an Uber driver. Then, on the ride home, she spent the whole time talking about drama between Jenna and some guy from the bar. The worst part is how she talks about our relationship to them. I overheard her on the phone with Bella last week saying how I'm going through a jealous phase and need to learn to share her time better. Like I'm some insecure teenager instead of her partner who just wants to feel like a priority sometimes. I've tried talking to her about balance, about how relationships need nurturing too. She always promises to do better, then immediately makes plans that exclude me. And when I point out the pattern, she accuses me of trying to isolate her from her friends. There's no winning. I'm writing this from a coffee shop right now because I couldn't stand being in our apartment anymore. I've been looking at places online all morning. Found a decent 1-bedroom about 20 minutes away that I can afford on my own. The lease application is sitting in my email drafts. I love her, but I can't keep coming in sixth place in my own relationship. If you've ever felt like you're not a priority in your partner's life, tell me in the comments. Do you think I should give her an ultimatum or just walk away for good? And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because it only gets more dramatic from here. So I submitted that rental application the same day. Got approved within 48 hours, which honestly felt like a sign. I spent the next week quietly moving my stuff whenever Lily was out with the circle, which was convenient since that's basically every day. By the time she noticed something was up, I had already moved about 80% of my things. She came home Thursday night around midnight. Apparently, they'd gone to some new rooftop bar that Ryan wanted to try, and immediately saw that my gaming setup was gone. I heard her calling my name from the living room, her voice getting higher with each room she checked. Daniel, what the hell is happening here? Where's all your stuff? I was in our bedroom packing the last of my clothes when she found me. She stood in the doorway for a moment, scanning the room like she was taking inventory of everything missing. Are you moving out? Her voice cracked a little on the last word. I handed her the letter I'd written. Tried to keep it simple and honest, that I needed to be with someone who actually wanted to prioritize our relationship, that I couldn't keep feeling like an afterthought in her life. She read it once quickly, then again slower, her eyes getting wider. When she looked up at me, it was like she was seeing a stranger. You're seriously leaving me because I have friends? Because I won't ditch the people who have been there for me for years? I sat down on the edge of the bed, suddenly exhausted. Lily, it's not about you having friends. Then what is it about? She snapped, waving the letter. Because this whole thing reads like you want me to choose between you and everyone I care about. I want you to care about me too, I said quietly. I want to feel like I matter to you, like our relationship matters. She stared at me like I'd suggested something insane. Of course you matter, but I can't just abandon my friends every time you want attention. I felt something twist in my chest. Lily, I asked you to spend one evening with me for our anniversary, one, and you explained why that night was more important than us. She threw her hands up. This is ridiculous, Daniel. You're throwing away 2 years because you can't handle me having a social life. You knew who I was when we started dating. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized she genuinely didn't understand. In her mind, I was the problem. I was the one being unreasonable. I thought I knew who you were, I said, standing up and zipping the bag. I thought you were someone who wanted to build something with me. I do want to build something with you, but not if it means cutting off everyone else in my life. I'm not asking you to cut them off. I'm asking you to make space for me too. But she was already shaking her head, and I could see in her eyes that we were going to keep going in circles. She saw this as me being controlling. I saw it as basic relationship maintenance. There was no middle ground we were both willing to find. After another 20 minutes of the same arguments on repeat, I finally held up my hands. I'm done, Lily. Done arguing about this. Done arguing, or done with us. Both. The finality in my voice seemed to hit her then. Her whole posture changed, like she suddenly realized this wasn't just a fight we'd work through. If you were in my shoes, would you walk away or give her another chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because what happens next will blow your mind. After I left, I told Lily I'd be back for the rest of my stuff over the weekend when she was at Bella's pool party, because of course there was a pool party. I left my key on the kitchen counter and walked out, but apparently leaving wasn't enough for her. Saturday morning, I was in my new place, finally feeling like I could breathe again when my phone started blowing up. Lily was calling non-stop, sending paragraph-long texts about how we needed to talk this through like adults. When I didn't answer, she started having the circle message me too. Jenna sent me this long text about how Lily was devastated and I was breaking up the family. Ryan called me immature for ghosting instead of working things out. Marcus tried the reasonable approach, suggesting we all meet up to discuss things. Even Bella, who I'd maybe had 10 conversations with in 2 years, felt qualified to tell me I was making a mistake. By Sunday evening, the tone had shifted. Messages like, "You're going to regret this. Lily deserves better anyway. Stop being emotionally abusive by abandoning her." Despite the fact that I'd left a letter explaining everything, they were rewriting the story to make me the villain. Then Monday night happened. I got home from work to find all 5 of them standing outside my new building. Lily was in front with the circle arranged behind her like some kind of intervention crew. She started talking as soon as she saw me, loud enough that neighbors were peeking out their windows. "We need to settle this right now. You don't get to just disappear and ignore everyone. We're all adults here." I told them there was nothing to settle. I'd made my decision, I'd explained my reasons, and I wasn't changing my mind. That's when Ryan stepped forward with this gem. "Dude, you're being a selfish piece of shit. Do you know how much you're hurting her? How much you're hurting all of us?" All of them, people I barely knew. Apparently, by dating Lily, I'd become part of their family system, and leaving her was like abandoning the entire group. It was the most codependent thing I'd ever heard. Jenna was crying. Marcus kept trying to mediate. Bella was recording everything on her phone. For what purpose? I have no idea. And Lily just stood there nodding along like this was all perfectly normal behavior. I told them they had exactly 30 seconds to leave my property before I called building security. When they didn't move, I walked inside and did exactly that. Security came out and asked them to leave, which they eventually did, but not before Lily shouted, "This isn't over!" That was 3 weeks ago. The calls and texts finally slowed down, but every now and then I still get a message from some random number, probably one of them. I don't regret leaving, but I'm still shocked by how insane it got. Who brings their entire friend group to harass their ex? What kind of adult behavior is that? What would you do if your partner's friend showed up at your door like this? Comment below and make sure you subscribe, because the next part of this story is where things really flip upside down. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be posting more about this, but life has a sense of humor. Things on my end were finally stabilizing. New apartment felt like freedom. Work was busy, but rewarding. And I'd been reconnecting with my own friends, the ones I had unintentionally neglected during the Lily years. Turns out, when you're not stuck being the designated driver for someone else's social circle every weekend, you actually have time for your own life. But meanwhile, the circle. It was falling apart. My buddy Adam works with Marcus, and apparently the group dynamics had started to shift. Remember how Marcus was dating Sophie? Well, they got engaged 2 weeks ago. And Sophie has been vocal about thinking the whole group's setup is immature. She's been pushing Marcus to set real boundaries. So Marcus, he's been pulling back, missing weekly hangouts, not responding to the endless group chat, actually prioritizing his fiancée. Sound familiar? Lily apparently lost it when Marcus said he couldn't do their annual beach trip because he and Sophie had already planned to visit her parents. Her words, "You're becoming just like Daniel." Meanwhile, Jenna got a promotion that required her to move to Portland. She tried setting up virtual hangouts, but Lily made some nasty comment about real friends not abandoning the group for career opportunities. Jenna was understandably hurt, and Bella and Ryan. Turns out their on-again, off-again situationship became an actual relationship, and Lily hated it because it changed the dynamic. She worried what would happen if they broke up, completely missing the irony of treating two people's personal lives as a threat to the group. So now, Lily was suddenly feeling the sting of being deprioritized. What she once told me was selfish became a tragedy when it happened to her, and then she reached out to me. 3 days ago, I got a text, the first direct contact since that night she showed up with the circle outside my building. "Hey, I know things ended badly, but maybe we could grab coffee sometime. I feel like we both said things we didn't mean." I stared at my phone for a full minute. After months of chaos, silence, and moving on, I didn't respond. But the next day, she sent another. I know I made mistakes. I was young and didn't understand balance, but I've been learning. I think we could try again if you're open. Here's the thing. By this time, I'd started seeing someone new. Claire. Nothing too serious yet, but she was refreshing. She had her own close friends, but she also understood that relationships needed one-on-one time. She didn't check her phone once during dinner. She was present, with me. And I realized I had already moved on. Have you ever had an ex come crawling back right when you finally moved on? Comment your experience and hit subscribe, because the final chapter of this saga will leave you speechless. The messages from Lily kept coming for about a week. Nothing aggressive, just carefully chosen words like she was searching for the right combination to get me to respond. A few highlights. I finally understand what you meant about balance. I see it now. The group isn't the same anymore. I think I was using them to avoid dealing with real intimacy. I miss talking to you. Not even about getting back together, just talking. That one almost got me. We did used to have great conversations, but I reminded myself, good conversation doesn't mean good partnership. So I stayed silent. Then it happened. Claire and I were having dinner downtown at this Italian place when I spotted a familiar trio at the corner table. Lily, Bella, and Ryan. No Marcus, no Jenna. Apparently, Marcus was with Sophie at a couples event, and Jenna was already thriving in Portland. Lily saw me before I could suggest leaving. Our eyes met. She hesitated, then approached as Claire and I were heading out. Daniel, hey, I don't want to interrupt, but could I talk to you for just a minute? Claire, graceful as ever, squeezed my hand and said she'd wait by the car. Lily looked different, tired, older. She started speaking fast, like she'd rehearsed it. I know you haven't been responding, and I understand why. I just wanted to say, you were right about balance, about priorities, about what a real relationship should look like. I see Marcus with Sophie, and I realize I never gave you that. And I'm sorry, genuinely sorry. It was the first time she'd apologized without excuses. She glanced toward the car, saw Claire, and gave a small, sad smile. She seems lovely. I hope she appreciates what she has. And then she walked away. That was the closure I didn't know I needed. Through Adam, I later heard that the circle is basically done. Marcus is fully committed to Sophie. Jenna is loving her new life in Portland. Bella and Ryan are officially dating but keeping distance from the old group dynamic. And Lily? She's still trying to glue the pieces together with nostalgic group texts, but people have simply moved on. She's finally learning what I tried to tell her months ago. Relationships, all relationships, require mutual investment. You can't treat people like placeholders while expecting them to stick around forever. As for me, Claire and I are doing great. She's met my friends, and it felt effortless. No competition, no drama, no constant performance, just genuine connection. She's even mentioned a weekend trip, just the two of us, and instead of it feeling selfish or threatening, it feels normal, healthy. I don't wish Lily harm. I hope she figures out how to build real, balanced connections. But I'm glad I had the courage to walk away when I did, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to be treated like an option. This is the last time I'll post about it. The chapter is closed. If you've ever had to walk away from someone who couldn't prioritize you, you know how hard it is, but also how freeing it can be. Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true relationship twists.